another stream. But right now we're officially in a night live right now. So welcome back to another night live, y'all. All we're up to right now is we're just hanging out. So if anyone on here is new, welcome. And if you are a returning guest or a subscriber who's been on here previously, or a mod, welcome back. But yeah, right now all we're doing is we're just chilling out at the moment, so feel free to stop by, ask questions, get to know everybody on here. That's one way that we make friends on here, but that's also one way we get to know the channel, is getting to know us and myself as well. So yeah. Right now though, I am just sitting in my bed relaxing. So for me there's not really a lot happening. But but yeah, and also just to go over a couple of things with the channel is so just a few rules I'll say that I have some of my mods pin usually when they're in here. At least if one of them's in here. Is the first rule y'all goes for only the men in my chat, but I haven't seen it happen in like a hot minute, is no flirting with me. Because y'all, in the past, I have gotten a few guys or so just doing that, which, y'all, that's just dumb. I'll say that out there right now. Especially when you hear them say that they're taken, So, we want to make sure we're putting that out there so y'all aren't just trying to go at it as if you were hoping something was going to happen. But, continuing, rule number 2 is just to have fun, relax, enjoy yourself, because y'all, we all here, most of us, except for there's there's a majority of us here that are adults here, but also there's a majority of y'all that are also teens. So us adults and teens do not need a lot of we don't need stress, chaotic drama in here going on. Because we all here have a life of some sort that we do. Either if it's us working our job or us just doing our normal routine. Like y'all, I don't work at the moment, but that's because y'all, it's hard to even find a job out here these days, especially with people with disabilities. It's tricky to do that, but of course, me after a year has been attempting my best at it. I'm getting help through a lot of this, so it's gonna feel a lot faster for me. But I'm just enjoying though. I'm not really pushing myself to rush it though, because I can't just rush time like that. Nobody can. But yeah, and then also another rule in here is to no back talking whatsoever or cussing in my chat. And y'all, there's people that will come and do that. Just it's for everyone's safety and myself. And I'm not really the person who loves swearing or even wants to use it as just typical English every day. Like, that's not my vocabulary every day. Like, I was a high schooler once. I know what that was like. Oh, Lord. A lot of people just cussing their tails off as if they're insane. Ugh, it drove me nuts, though. I'm not gonna lie. Because in high school, I would hear a lot of people using certain cuss words as just daily sentences. I don't know why there's high schoolers that do that, but it's hideous, in my offense. So I'm like, what? In my head, I'm like, what is wrong with them? But yeah, so please be aware of that, because I also want to make this a friendly, positive outcome for a lot of you who are just joining. I want y'all to come into a channel where you will feel safe, but also you will enjoy it a lot because, some people will come into somebody's channel and go, oh, they're cool. And then all of a sudden, somebody in their chat starts acting like a jerk and just cussing him or her out. And that person's like, oh, snap, let me get out. I don't feel safe here. Keep scrolling until I find somebody, I'm not like that on here. So that's why I say don't use any cuss language or don't make others on here feel uncomfortable because you never know what they're going through. Because there might be a few of you guys on here who've been through crazy situations back in the day, or you've been going through a lot recently, and the last thing you want to see in the chat or even think of is seeing somebody in here either talking to you physically or just saying in the chat for a lot of us to see and just going, oh, I'm gonna use this term to get your brains out, We're not like that here, y'all. We're not. Oh, I forgot to excuse me. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're not those people. Nuh-uh. I'm a Christian, so let's not even start that. So, yeah, like I said, those are just a couple of rules I will say on here, but when I do have them on in here, usually I will pin it because they will help me out pin a lot of that detail out for a lot of you guys to understand clearly. But yeah, like I said, that's just a couple of little things that I personally do on here. And like I said, just have fun for a little bit while we're on here. Because you never know. You really never know when something could happen. Like, who even knows what's gonna happen tomorrow? But, yeah. And also feel free to like and subscribe as well to the channel if you want to get all of the updates on here, such as when I go live or when I post a video of some sort. I would hate if, let's say somebody was here, but let's say they didn't subscribe or they didn't get notified about a live or a video. I would hate for somebody for that to happen and miss a live or something like that. Yeah, so I would, like I said, if y'all want to continue, if y'all want to keep up with all the updates on here, like live streams and videos and more, feel free to subscribe because just so everyone's clear, y'all, for everyone currently who's subscribed to me, y'all are the only ones that get the updates. No one else outside of that 1.20 something K of you guys. Because, there's like a lot of you out there right now that I've got on here, which is crazy. So, like I said, feel free to like and subscribe. There's no judgment. There's no, pushing to it. I'm somebody who will not be pushing anyone to ever. Don't feel like you have to ever push yourself to do it. That's a decision you can think about. We're adults here. We can make our own decisions. But also, our young adults and teens can do the same too, because, it's pretty simple. So, Raymond, how are you doing? It's been a minute. But, yeah, it's just, Oh, Raymond, you're so funny. But, yeah. Let's go, you guys. We got our first like in the chat. But I hope everyone's doing well on here. I'm doing pretty good, though. Just hanging out. Chilling. That's the best part. It's just to relax and stuff like that, and I don't have to feel like I'm having to do a bunch, you know? Just, that's the nice part. Is just you can slow down and not have a whole lot in your head going on, or be like, okay, I gotta make sure I have this done, or make sure that, little things in your head that go on can do that, It was good, Raymond. Um, it went pretty good. Let me say, I think for me it was Friday that I don't know what time exactly. It was like late though in her life that I somehow fell asleep in the middle of her life. Like, I've started to automatically pass out without knowing it, like a few times in a row. And then thankfully though, Saturday night, thankfully I didn't. So it was a thank God to me. But it went really well though, overall. Um, but yeah. So, gosh, my. Anywho, sorry I had to switch hands because my other hand was getting tired. But yeah. So, I'm just trying to get myself adjusted. But yeah. Oh, really? Oh, good, it's not just me. That's crazy. Yeah, it was funny because there's already been a few times that's happened to me. And I'm like, and it'd be the funniest thing. Next thing I know, I probably wake up at maybe maybe 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning, and then I'm like, oh snap. And it was just crazy. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Yes, that's happened to me already on her end. But yeah. And also to give a few of you guys who are returning updates on my boyfriend AJ, because I've told a few of you guys on here about him. He's been doing good. We just kind of been doing the usual, just texting back and forth occasionally throughout the day. He and I were gonna call like an hour ago, but something came up, so it's one of those that, we say we're doing it and all of a sudden automatically happens right off the bat. But, yeah. But sometimes I be staying up the whole day. What? I be staying up? That's crazy, first of all. Like, wow. Literally, that's wild. I mean, for me, I usually stay up till about 2 in the morning, but that's because I don't have to, not always, every day, I don't have to be up super early for things, unless if it was a Sunday. I mean, technically, I do kind of stay up the same time on a Sunday, but manage to actually wake up, not feel directly tired, which is shocking to me, but that's because I've got church on Sunday, which normally goes well. But yeah. Okay, thanks for letting me know. But yeah. And also, just for the majority of us in here, just to kind of say a little bit about the channel, I have been doing it for mainly a couple years, but at one point I did slow it down quite a bit. I didn't really post not really a whole lot because I was in school and it was a lot trickier to even do it. But once I graduated, I was able to start posting more actively and frequently, and that's when I was able to actually starting to go live. Was like, I think it was like the end of like last year. Mel, how are you doing? But yeah, and so yeah, so it was kind of like half of last year going into the full year that I've been putting out things and just, especially live too, because that's when I was able to finally actually go live for once too. So, but yeah, it's been going well for a lot of it. But yeah. But Mel, hopefully you're doing well since you're also in here now too. That's pretty crazy. But yeah. Anyway, we're all just chilling. Right now we're not doing anything too wild at the moment, so it's a good little bit to pause and not get in our heads too much. Cause like I said, a lot of us here have a whole lot of chaos going on. Either we have been working like crazy all day, or we have had stuff we're doing in our own heads that are like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna get this done, or oh, let me finish this real quick, or just do whatever. So yeah. Mm. But yeah. Let me just see. Exactly, Mel. Because that's what I mean. My streams, I'm not super hectic. I'm like, mine's a talking stream, Mel. That's what we do on here. I mean, occasionally I'll do something, but not like nothing extreme. Because, this is an area where we all can come on here and we can all chat about all kinds of, what. It's as if we're all having a conversation, but just us few. But, yeah. So, like, y'all, first of all, I'm 20. For reference, I'm an adult. So, there's always a lot going on. And so, it's good to, just slow down and not pressure myself, don't rush myself. Because, throughout the day, there's a whole lot of things that go through your head in terms of like anything that you do, or just basically all the little things that happen, But yeah. Yes, Mel. Basically, I turned 20 on the 1st, which was wild. Yep, and yeah, for anyone who's not been here also in a hot minute, I recently just turned 20. Literally a week ago. Crazy. Like, it's actually soon to be a week ago. On Wednesday. Because that's the day I was on. Crazy. And so, it's pretty wild to believe that. Like, it literally is crazy wild to believe that I am 20. Crazy. But, yeah. You know what, Mel? I will show you a little bit of that day, too, because I did show Raymond what it was like that day. Hang on. Let me pull up. Hang on, give me a second. Let's see. So this was me. I'll pull up a few other good ones too. Which I'm really looking good. This was me. Half of me is gonna get covered in just a couple of these, not every single one, because of how far spaced it is. Hang on. There's me, but it's like half cut off. So mind that. Here we go. Yeah, there's only a couple of these pics of me that are gonna kind of be off a little bit. just because of how far I was at the time. But yeah, that's a few photos to show in there. But yeah. Yes, I was. Yeah, exactly, Mel. Like, that's what your birthday should look like. Is you're happy on that day. Like, all birthdays should be like that. Is you're supposed to be happy on that day because hey, that's the day you existed. Okay, like y'all, on that day, 20 years ago, to October 1st, 2005, at 10:30 in the morning, bam, I came out. That's when I came into the world. Like, that's a day to reflect of that many years ago and think, how did I get here? You know? But also, that's a day too to reflect on all the years and just think about also what you've accomplished within that extended period of time, you know? Because as we age, we at least have something that we accomplish at some point, you know? Because there's a lot into things, you know? But yeah. Dang. But yeah, because I mean, on your birthday, you should feel good. Now, what I will tell you from my perspective is to relax, don't go crazy at yourself. And Mel, let me say this too. Oh, what was it for me? I would say a couple years ago. I think for me it was. Yeah, it was like a couple years ago for me when I got my COVID shot, but that was like way before the booster was out. And I mean, let me say, it was good, but I think it was only a little after, and I think it was for a day that my arm was just hurting, but all you just had to do was just kind of just rub that spot for a little bit, and then it slowed down, so it wasn't too painful. But that's really it with me. But like I said, just slow down. Don't go crazy in your head, because you know, if we get there in our own head right now, ooh, you know, that's not gonna look good. It's not. Not for someone who's really an adult and all that stuff, you know. But yeah. So that's my bird in the background. Oh, we have 3 people in the chat. Holy smokes. So for anyone who is just coming in, I do see we have a 3rd person coming in the chat. So it's gonna take them a minute to do it. Feel free to like and subscribe. There's no pressure going on. Like I said, you can decide if you want to. There's no forcing. I hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully everyone's staying safe out there, because y'all, I've said this before, it's chaotic in our... Hang on. Sorry about that. Like I was about to say, like I said, in our generation, it is crazy with just people making bad decisions and just feeling like we're having to do things that we don't have to do. You know, don't try to let people literally get to you, because, you know, when people do that, they're just stupid. They don't know what they're doing. So just don't even risk it, you know? Don't risk life's decision making. But yeah. Exactly. We're all friends in this chat, you guys, so let's be respectful to that. But yeah. So let me get up for a minute. Let me do this real quick. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're people. We know what we're doing. So, yep. And you guys, just do a little fit check moment for me. I am just wearing my usual set. Y'all have seen me worn this a few times. But let me just position this just a little bit so y'all can kind of see it better. But y'all, I have worn this before in here, but this is just, y'all, I just love these sets. Like, I'm not, like, if anyone's wondering where I got it off Amazon. And I have another pair of this that's a shirt, and I actually have three, including this. I've got no, technically it's two with this. I've got a long sleeve shirt and pants, which are like softer material than this. And then I have a shirt and shorts version that's this material. So it's the normal lightweight material. And if I had to pick a favorite, it's either this or the shirt and shorts because they're just too cute to pair, but it's also really comfy. And plus the shirt and pants version is more for like winter, like when it gets that super cold time of the year. Like, for example, that would be good like December, January timeline, because that's when it gets a lot colder. Plus February gets a lot colder around that time. So yeah, let me turn this down though, just so y'all can hear me over that. But yeah, but also, for example, this right here, it's really good to wear all year round, plus the shirt and shorts version, which, I mean, you can really wear it all year round, but you know, it's good to have something like that in between a lot of it. And also, y'all, it also shows off my age really good, you know? Like, y'all, I have worn this around AJ a few times, you know? And it gives off, like I said, it gives off that vibe to, like, it makes me look like a little bit ahead. But hang on, let me get myself a jacket real quick, because speaking of them freezing, which that's good, I have one of these. Oh, that's like it. Okay, sorry about that. I was getting my jacket because I started to get cold a little bit. Which, I mean, I hate when that happens, but that's why I got them. But anyway, hang on. Let me pull up my chair. Okay. Give me just a minute while I position my camera toward me. Okay, there we go. So, anyway, like I was saying before, but yeah, like, these pajama sets are really comfy to wear. Cause, like I said, they're very lightweight, But also, like I said, they're just lightweight and they're good to have. And they're just another cute part of my pajamas to have, you know? Because with us girls, we can't be cute and comfy at the same time. You know, even us adults can't look like that. You know? Because, like, we can have our standard normal pajamas in our drawer, but not have, like, a couple pairs that are, like, that give off a vibe, you know? And this is, like, adult slash cute vibe with it. And like I said, it really shows off my age really good. And also, for example, the in the pictures I just showed you guys of around my birthday, the top I'm wearing in that photo, y'all, I look like a freaking adult wearing it. Like, it makes me look like I'm way older than I actually am in that, just because of all the patterns and stuff like that. I feel like, you know, because I feel like we would see a lot of adults wearing stuff like that, and it's just cute, you know. Because why? First off, why wouldn't it be cute? You know, that's just what we are these days. But yeah. But yeah, if you guys are curious about an update on AJ, though, like I said earlier, he's doing good. Thank goodness. But yeah, we just been texting a lot daily, like we would do. We call when we can. Like, I think the last we called was either yesterday or the day before. But yeah, it's one of the two. But he's been good. And hopefully we can try to figure out a time next month maybe for him to come out, because like I said, that's the next area at least for him to be out here. Because, you know, it's basically been since August that he was out here. So it's already been 2 months since I've had him out here last. And originally I was trying to shoot for like next week, but his brother's in school and he also is deaf, so he can't hear that well. I mean, he wears implants, but he wears cochlear implants, but the thing is, it's just him and his grandma, who she's not in the best condition. Like, she's in a decent condition, but not like in a condition where she would be able to get up a lot and function on her own. So, for example, like his aunt though comes to though like a couple of times a day, but she would have to help her get up and do what she would have to do in order for her to do a lot of that. So there's times where he has to pitch in and help a little bit with just those little things. But yeah. Alright. Okay, thanks, Belle. Thanks for letting me know. But yeah, so but yeah, I mean, he's, like I said, he's been doing good though. Like I said, I'm hoping we can try to look around at least next month at the latest to have him out. But once we have the dates like at it physically, then I'll be able to fully know for sure. But yeah. I'm trying to think what else I know too off the bat. But yeah, feel free to ask stuff, y'all. That definitely helps me out. Not just run out of things directly off the bat. And also, y'all can just, like I said, y'all can ask whatever, just don't go the opposite route of that, because, we've had people in the past do that, which, that's just what they do. But it's just for everyone's safety purposes and all that. And plus, you just not want to hear inappropriate nonsense. Wrong timing. See, wrong timeline to be doing that. So, questions can be the basics you think about, or just stuff that you get curious about, That doesn't have to be anything specific. That's why I'm saying it that way. But, anyway. Yeah. We're just chilling though, y'all. World. Sorry, I just have next door. Crazy. But yeah. So, what else do I do specifically? But yeah. We're just chilling now, y'all. Oh, hang on. Started clearing a couple things from the table. From my little office corner. Because that's where a lot of my stuff gets put up into. But there's times too that I'm in the bed doing it. A lot of times I'm standing around. But we're changing it up a little bit. One at a time. So, what else do I know? Oh, you know what? I will throw this out there for y'all. So, basically, y'all, so this Sunday, which was basically yesterday, so yesterday at church, at the end of service, I officially became a church member there. So, an example, it's pretty cool. I'm excited. So, for example, at my church, let's say if you wanted to become a part of something there, you would have to be a member in order to do that. So that would mean, for me, that just meant I would have to talk with my pastor, and he and I would talk about those steps. And then that Sunday, when I'm there, when it's the invitation part, where for people who want to go up and get prayed and help them put Jesus as Lord and Savior of their life, stuff like that, I go up. And at first for me, what it looked like was, went up there, my pastor prayed over me, and also for these next steps. And then, they also had a song, they had music going in the background too at that time. And then when the music ended, and even when they all shutted, they paused, which they got done with a lot of it. And what happened was, my pastor told the whole church, so everybody who was in church on this day, so everybody in the audience, a little bit of my background from a little bit of the past, a little bit, so it gives them a sense. And once he finished saying what he had to say, he was like, "Can I get a amen on me becoming a covenant member of the church?" In which it did, y'all. Y'all, let me just say this to preface this for reference. I knew from the moment I got up there, I knew I was gonna be shaking. I just knew it, because that's literally me. That's me, like, a lot of the times when I'm standing in front of everybody. But I'm also, when I know I'm about to stand in front of a whole audience, I am that exact same way. Like, I knew from the second that it was gonna happen. But that day was a big day for me though. It felt amazing. It just so everyone's aware, I have only been going to this church for about 4.5 months, almost 5 months. So October 18th will be officially 5 months. Crazy. It does not feel like that. Like it does not feel like right now it does not feel like 4 months because I went around May. Crazy. But it's also nuts that shorter periods of time you went to stuff like that, it will not feel like that. It will feel longer. Like for me, it just felt longer than shorter. It's crazy. Like it does not feel like 4.5 months. It feels like 6. It feels like 6 or 7 months. You know. But I am very excited for these next steps because also the main reason on top of all that was because, as some of you know, I used to work at my old church I used to go to. I used to work with all of the little kids, and so since December, I forgot what date it was. I need to look back at my pictures, but it was like December something. But since like December of 2023, so basically 2 years ago. Crazy. I worked with kids up till that point, and then that's when we had to move out of our house into an Airbnb because this house had some touch-ups that needed to get done before the day came. And so, of course, the thing is too, of course, when you move into a new house and stuff like that, that will start to mean you will have to start to find a new church to attend and stuff like that, and go from there if you like it. And so I've been going to this church called Faith Fellowship. That's where I just told you guys the story about just now. Yeah, and plus this church has a whole lot behind it because my senior service was held there when I graduated from my second school, and so it meant a lot to me to have it happen. But yeah, so I'm very excited because now these next steps are I just filled out a security form that just like a security screening form, just with my info on it, address info, stuff like that. But yeah, just a lot of those basics, but also questions like have you ever been abused by somebody, or have I ever been arrested? It's just all also security questions too, which thank goodness not. But it's just for safety reasons. So what next steps for me look like is Sunday when I go back, I will return this form, and then I will at some point watch a certain video that they have there, that's just letting you know of just all the basics that you just need to know, and then I go through the training process of working in the kid department. So that way it gave me a sense. And so this is the first time even I'm going into that process, because where I used to work, I didn't really have to do that at the time. But yeah, so I'm basically very excited for these next steps and to literally see how God can still give me what I used to do, but also, this, like I said, it's basically a big deal to me. I will literally feel like I'm back home. Like, it makes me feel like I'm almost home to where I used to be before I moved. And it will feel like I'm still doing my experience still, but just in a different church and doing it a new year too. So I'm very excited for what God's got in store um, with all the kids and just myself, because like I told you guys, I'm experienced with them. So I'm just very excited to get back in it. And like I said, working with these kids is home to me. Like, that's where I was before. So I'll be back to my happy place pretty soon. So can't wait. But, and also, y'all, a lot of us have, I mean, there's a lot of us here, but a lot of us on here have there's a certain place we all have that is like a happy place to us. Like, it can be church, it can be where we work at, it can be, anything, really. And so, for me, it's church, but it's also working with the kids, because let me just say, y'all, little kids, especially pre-K, because that's my main specialty of kids I love, and also nursery, but my top favorite is pre-K, because they're just, y'all, for people who've never seen or never met a preschooler, oh my gosh, they're so cute. Like, these kids are 3 and 4 years old, and they're just starting out learning all the skills, but also they're just starting to learn everything that they're supposed to. Like, they're learning how to make friends, they're learning how to, especially in church, they're just learning how to hear God's word. And and they're starting to learn to get curious about stuff like that at a young age. So even with me, it's also a big deal, because us adults at that age, a few of us had that at some point in our toddler years, and they're also making friends. That's, making friends, especially even us as adults, that's the best. That's the main part of being a kid, is learning how to make friends and and also being okay with, like, gender, race, stuff like that, and just learning to accept people into your friend circle, and these kids have got to learn at a young age how it works, so that when they become teenagers and they go into middle school and high school and graduate and then go to adulthood like us, they can get it and go, okay, this is how this works, this is how to act, this is not how to act, because what if those kids did not learn any of it at that age and just, acted stupid, it just wouldn't be cool at all. And, and also, me working with kids at that age, like I said, it makes my heart happy, it makes me happy, and I just feel like I'm at home. Like, I feel like I have a happy place in me around them. And even I did vacation Bible school at my old church for like 2 years. But then also when I was a youth at this other church, so from like 8th grade, almost freshman year, going into, I think around my senior year, like either around, no, actually it was right around my junior year, actually, that it was I know of that I was a youth. And like I said, for like 2 years also, it would have been 3, but I was doing um, something else in between that timeline, so I couldn't. But so basically, to calculate that, it's like 4 years straight. Crazy. That's crazy in my head to think that. Yeah, so for all together to do it for 4 years straight on top of my actual church back then, it's just crazy. Ugh, gosh. It's just crazy to look back at a lot of it and just think, where the heck did I do to get there? But yeah. So, but yeah, I'm just so excited for a lot of these next steps that are coming my way, and just to get started and just feel like I'm back home again. And like I said, we all have a happy place somewhere. And if some of us on here haven't found that place yet, it can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be anything specific. Like, it can be something you love or you love to go, It can be anywhere. Like, it can be church. It can be, maybe where you work at. Maybe, like, the environment there. But also, it doesn't have to be the place itself. It can be about people there or, or the environment, Like, with me, it's church, but also it's the environment of my church, because I will say this, because even at my church, I feel like I'm home, but also I feel like I am starting to get to know a lot of people there, and it almost feels like, it really almost feels like, to me though, it almost feels like, it almost feels like a never awkward situation. Because, when you move churches and stuff like that, and you move to where you rarely know anyone, but maybe one person, because maybe they told you about it, at first, that was me at first. A little bit. There were a couple people, like 1 or 2 people, that I met around that church because I went to, like, other events of the church before I started finally going to services weekly. And so, but once I began going to church weekly since May, like I said, 4.5 months, I have began to know a lot of people there, and just feel like, kind of, for me, it felt like what it used to look like at my old church, where I knew mostly everyone. And there it feels like I know at least, like, probably, like, 6 or 7 or more, or at least more than 10 people there. But also, to me, I feel like I'm welcomed. Because, for an example, when I told you guys when I became an official member, aka covenant member of the church, one of my friends I met there, she texted me like a few minutes after that, or so. Like, I think it was like a few minutes after. And, oh, y'all, looking back, I just in that moment felt welcomed. Like I've been since I went there. But also, I definitely just felt something on me at that point. Because She congratulated me on becoming an official member, and yo, when I saw her text me, um, I knew from the second I saw that text. I just knew that this church has just been amazing, and I feel like I'm at home. Like, I felt like this church was home to me. And because everyone was so nice, like, everyone at this church though is so nice though. I mean, most churches may get nice people, but there's gonna be a church or two that gets a couple of nonsense people, but not a lot of us experience that every day. But yeah, but at the end of the day, like I said, at the end of the day, you would want to be a part of a church that makes you feel like you're home. It also feels like family, because that's how churches should be. And my church feels like that. Like, I feel like I'm home. I feel like I arrived. And then also soon, eventually, when I begin to work with all the kids again, I will feel like I'm back at my happy place. Like, I'll feel it, because I know the feeling when I first started, because I kind of knew this is where I wanted to go. Oh yeah. See, I almost want to cry about it, but that's because it's a good cry though. Everyone in the chat. But just at the end of the day though, God wants us to be in a spot where we feel happy and we feel good about ourselves. Even like, God calls us for all kinds of stuff out there. Like, it can be anything from working in ministry or helping out in ministry, or it can just be life decisions you do. So the fact that I wanted to know how their environment worked, but yeah, basically I just knew from the second when I stepped into church, and then as just months went by, I just knew that I think I found where I'm supposed to be, but yeah, pretty crazy. Alright, Mel, and yes, I mean, like I said, you want to be in a spot where you're happy, but like I said, a happy place doesn't have to be church. It can be anywhere. Like I said, it can be like a park you go to, or maybe a certain view spot, or it can be just anywhere. All you have to do is just see if you're happy a lot around that place, or if you're just normal, typical, or like, check in with yourself, see how you feel around that environment, because every environment is different. Like, some people are happy in that environment, happy for them, but some are like, they're okay, I can deal with it. And then some people are like, okay, I don't like how this environment is, or it's just too chaotic, it's confusing, it's a lot to put in. But when you're in that right spot, you will feel it. Like for me, I knew this church, I knew I was in a right spot because me and my neighbor have went, like she's been there for years, while her other neighbor has only been there for 4 months. And the fact that she's been able to take me quite a bit is awesome. And um like at the end of the day, I'm just thankful to God that I am around people who have seen me and have gotten to know me a little bit at a time and just understood me quite well. Like, I've told a couple people at church a little bit of kind of my background with epilepsy and kind of how I've made it 20 years of living. Yeah. And I told you guys a lot of that too, because, especially when y'all were first new. But, yeah. So yeah, that's definitely a key point for us all, is to find a place or anywhere that you feel happy in, and even in the environment, soak it in for a good while and see if you are mentally, physically happy in that environment, and then but also happy to the point that it feels like home, and then you can call it that, and like I said, it can be anywhere. Like I said, it can be church, school, like it can be church, a park, a certain area with like a good view, a lake, anywhere, a beach, a vacation spot. It can be anywhere without having to do a lot of work for it. Just all you would need to do is think to yourself and ask yourself, am I physically happy in this environment? Do I like it here? Is it what? Check the boxes. Is this my happy spot? Is this where I feel safe at? Is this home to me? So as you go through that, just make sure you are thinking about those boxes and see if that fits what you're thinking. So for me, when I went to this church for these past few months, even in my head, I've thought day and night of those keywords of what I just said, you guys. And from yesterday, when I became an official covenant member, I knew I was home. Because after church, one of my friends I've met there texted me congrats, and then she would say some really good encouraging stuff at me, and like I said, I just knew in that second that I was home, that these people have just been amazing. So like I said, that's everybody on here, but also people watching outside of the live. This is everyone's assignment, is to find a place they love to be around. Give it time and see if you fit those checkpoints. And ask yourself those questions in your head to see if you're physically there. Because I know there's a lot of us that are there, but we just might not know it. unless we think about it deeper and we dig deeper. And then we will know the exact answer at the end, you know. So, yeah, we're just chilling though, y'all. So, and yeah, we're just hanging out at the night moment. But yeah, oh, what's my throat? Give me a minute. Hang on. Give me a second. But yeah, so yeah. But yeah. So yep, and we're back to 2. But yeah. Anyway, let me get up for just a second. So give me just a minute, y'all. But yeah, so guys, it's almost 11 o'clock over here. That's crazy. That's wild. But yeah, you guys, all we're just doing though is we're just talking about life stuff and just hanging out. So feel free to ask questions, say hey, just relax. Because on My Lives, we're all about that. We're all about positivity here. We are not any other standard streams that are just pushy and going at it. We're neutral. I mean, occasionally we'll do something, but live purposes, we're chatting in the chat. Like, we're talking on here. So feel free to ask questions. It can be anything but inappropriate stuff. So if somebody's gonna come on this live and start talking nonsense, 2 options. You've got either the first option, you can exit immediate, or my mods here will kindly escort you out. Those are options, by the way. But that's if that happens. Right now, we've been doing really good about that. So, crossing fingers here, y'all, that we keep that going for the next little bit. So, and like I said, it's been a minute since we've had to kick somebody out here. So let's hope it stays that way. Because, I would hate if we had to do that to somebody today. Because, we never want to get kicked out for stuff like that. But the only times we would have to do that is if someone's being stupid on our end. But yeah, because people who just do stuff like that, it ain't cool. But yeah, I'm just dimming that light, y'all. So yeah. Anyway, there we go. Sorry, I was turning my outer lamp off just so that way it gets a break. Just so it gets a break from working. Because a lot of y'all know that thing is on from like the moment I wake up until like basically like 10 o'clock at night. Because, you know, it's been on most of the day. And so it's good to give stuff like that to, especially for a lamp, because y'all, light bulbs are hot. And, you know, it's good to give it at least the full night, or even for maybe a few minutes of a break, you know, because y'all, light bulbs are hot because of the light. And so it's good to let them cool down so it doesn't burn out quickly. But yeah. So right now for probably a few minutes, I'm gonna have my other big light on, which I'm not really a too big, huge fan of it, just because of how bright it is, but also the fact of how hot it gets too. But it's mainly because of how hot it gets, because it's like LED. And I don't know if a lot of people have ever had can lights in their house, but those get hot like crazy. And so it's good to, you know, like having them on for a couple minutes is fine, but after that, oh, good luck to that. Because it's hot as heck. So but right now I've got a smaller lamp, which actually, fun fact, in the beginning of this, that's what a lot of y'all saw. That's the lamp a lot of you guys saw the lighting background was. And that's why some people were like, why is it dark in the area? That's because of how small the lamp it was. And so it did do really good of covering the majority in here, but not like sturdy enough for a lot of y'all to go, why is your lighting second? You know? And also it's also just the fact that I'm one of those people who I don't really like to have the main light on, just because it drives me nuts. Like, it drives me crazy. But having like lamps on, it helps me out because I can still see around me, but also it has some kind of light in here, you know? And it's a little bit dimmer, and it's also not like bold. It's not like a bold light where it's gonna go blinding me. And, you know, not like what this light in the background currently right now is on, where it's gonna go in my face. Because, you know, we do not want lights like that at the end of the day. And also, a thing is too, especially for people with blue eyes, a lot of us people with that eye color, like myself, are prone to not liking bright lights, just because of the melanin in the eye. It's just because of the melanin in the eye that it gives, so the way it reflects a lot, we just get sensitive really quick to it. So yeah, if anyone's never known that, now you do. So yeah, but it's crazy, y'all, that we learn a lot. We learn a ton of things within our years that we live here. Like, y'all, in my 20 years, I've learned a bunch of things that you're supposed to learn. And also things that we learn just off of social media. You know, we learn all kinds of stuff everywhere. But yeah. So anyway, pretty chill. It's okay, excuse the flyaway. But yeah. Here we go. Now it's gonna get that because it's too hot. So I'm sticking kind of toward the lamp a little bit so that way y'all can still see me a little bit. So, yeah. Yeah. Anyways. Let's see. But we're all just chilling now. So, yeah. It's pretty wild. Hang on. Sorry, I'm just moving some stuff out of the way. But yeah, we're just hanging out. You know what? Maybe we'll do this. Can I? Give me a second. Give me just a minute, y'all. Yeah, let me just real quick. Actually, while we're on here, I'm gonna take my meds for once. Okay. So right now I was taking my second pill, so that way it's covered. So, in case y'all, that's important. Because, you know, I'm not trying to skip a lot of it. But that's just what occasionally happens. But, yeah. But yeah. Like I said, we're just hanging out right now. So, yeah. Anyways, anyway, gosh, goodness, there we go, you can see just a bit right here, so, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna take this down for a couple minutes, not that long. Anyway, yeah, so right now, all I'm doing though is I'm just chilling, hanging out, but yeah, so I was here exciting again, But yeah, so anyway, um, and yes, you guys, for a few of you on here, I do have long hair, by the way. And also, let me say this too, but also another thing is to, let me say this, a few people might not really know this, but I rarely take my hair down often, but it's just the fact that it makes me crazy. Like, it just drives me bonkers. Because, an example, it gets in my face, like, ooh. Like, an example, this is normal. Here, right? Just gotta fix some of this because it's not in all position. So, a lot of times, what it will do is if I'm looking down at something, it will. I'm sitting down, but an example, I'm standing up. And a lot of times, when it does, it'll shift forward and it makes me nuts. So, like an example, go like this. You can see how some of it wants to start to go forward. I'm gonna pull more out just so you can actually see what it does. See? Okay, you see how this just went in my face, right? Like, I'm gonna pull it out though. So let's say I'm looking at something like warp ago. Oh, look, go down. It will do that. It will get in my face constantly and drive me insane. So, yeah, so that's basically why my hair rarely goes down, is because it literally drives me insane. But let's say if I wanted to wear it down for a little bit, but I don't want it to get in my face, all I do is just pin it like half up, like this. Hang on. Like this. So it looks like I'm still wearing it up, but it's down. Because look, I still have this part down, right? So it at least covers the front, like here, because mainly that's where a lot of it will start, is like the upper front. We'll do that a ton. So, for example, if you just tie it half up, like the front bit, like the front, like a little bit of the chunk in the front, half up, it helps out. Like, actually, y'all, fun fact, when I graduated high school, I actually wore it in like a cool half up, as like that little bit up when I graduated. So this way I still have my hair up, but also to where my cat didn't get in the way of it. Because, y'all, like I said, I am not a fan of wearing it down a lot, just because of how insane it gets. But, yeah, but it's only gonna look like this maybe for a couple minutes, not that long. But, yeah, but that's just a tip. Or I can pin it like a high ponytail as well, because it's the same steps, but just the only difference is one's lower, one's higher. And it really shows it off really good as well. So, yeah. But that's just what it does. So, yeah. Pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, like, actually, here's an example of it down. But this was like senior me though. Hang on, it's still lighting, it hits. Here we go. But this was actually when it was a little shorter in this photo. Like, it was a smidge shorter than it is right now. That's the only difference. No, but basically that's what it looks like fall down without any chaos mess up. But also it's a little more wavier because I had my mom curled it that day as well to look good. And also, yes, y'all, that's also AJ up there too. And also, for some of you that might not know this too, his senior photos was the day that his senior photos were taken was the same day that mine were. So he and I both had the same date and timeline of it. So his and I's senior photos were at like 1 p.m. on like, I think it was November 4th that it was. Pretty crazy. Like, honestly, that's insane. But also my best friend named Asia was the same day too, but it seemed like hers was like earlier than what we were. So she almost would have had the same area as us, but you know, just by a couple hours. So she was sometime in the morning or so. But yeah, we all were the same day, but the only difference was me and AJ were at 1 o'clock and she was like sometime morning hours, I think. Or even earlier than that. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Not gonna lie. But at the same time though, looking back, it's pretty cute to think that way. Because we both got to experience it together. And looking back, I'm kind of glad to not do it in the summer, because even they also had it during the summer too. But I'm glad I waited till November, or else that wouldn't have happened, you know. But also I would have got to experience the nerves as well. But yeah, pretty crazy. But anyway, yeah, sprinklers are going off. But yeah, pretty crazy. So, yeah. Hang on, y'all. Right. And just like that, we're back to it being up like normal. But yeah, basically, like I said, I mainly wear it up 24/7. Just because, like I said, it drives me crazy. And I just showed y'all that demonstration what it does to me. But also, like I said, it's only here and there I would wear it down. But yeah, but y'all, imagine me trying to wear it down for 24 hours. Oh, y'all, that'd be a nightmare. Like, it honestly would be a nightmare, because it would go in my face and it would drive me insane. And let's say if I had to be on the road or something like that. Oh gosh. Imagine the wind just hitting it. No. Just not. And also, y'all, let's just say this. I have chopped this thing off, like, I've had chopped my hair, like, shorter length a lot when I was in high school. Like, around late middle school to high school years. And then finally, senior year, I'm like, screw it, I'm going to actually grow it out for once and not just lie to my friends and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to grow it up, but then make them a liar and go, you know, I did say I was going to grow it out, but after a while, it was just making me crazy. Or it would be that the maintenance was too much to handle. But you know, just gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. So it's not gonna be every time that we have to do that, you know. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, so like an example, in my senior photo I just showed you over there. Yeah, like over there I showed you guys. My hair was shorter length. I mean, like I said, that was senior year, but it was growing out at that time. Like it was still kind of short length, but it was just growing still. So it was in progress of it getting there. But yeah. But for right now, it's like here right now. So like right now's progress. Like if I do it from the front, is like at least here to here. And then in the back, it's like a little bit past my neck. Just a little bit past my neck. Kind of where, like, not quite in the middle of my back, but like, kind of where, no wait, kind of where my bra line goes. That's kind of where it goes. That's kind of where it touches right now. So, yeah. But also the best part about growing it out too is I can also do like a few other hairstyles. That I wouldn't have been able to do around that timeline. But also it would hold a little bit better. But yeah. So anyway. Yeah. It's pretty crazy though, y'all. I'll say that off the bat. But yeah. So insane. Still pretty crazy. But yeah. Yeah. So this is kind of what happens. But yeah. So oh, look at my skin going like crazy. But anyway though, y'all, I'm probably gonna get off live pretty soon, because I've been on here for at least almost an hour. At least an hour and a half. At the latest. But I won't be going to bed till like 2 in the morning. But that's because I don't have to be up for anything directly. But anyway though, yo, I'm gonna get off live though. I will see a lot of you guys back on here on Wednesday. So I will see you guys back on here on sometime Wednesday. So stay tuned. But also, again, feel free to like and subscribe so you won't miss any future updates from me personally, but also if you want to be in the loop of a lot of it, And also be sure to hit the notification bell so you do get those alerts and not miss a single one of those. But anyway, have a great rest of your night, or so have a great rest of your day, evening, afternoon, or night, wherever you're from on here, because we're all from different we're all from different time zones. So have a great rest of y'all's night from myself, because that's what over here is like. It's like nighttime for me. It's like almost 11:30 at night. But have a great rest of y'all's night from me. But hopefully you have a great rest of your day. Peace. And like I said, please make sure to go like and subscribe to me. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. And also, once again, before I end it, y'all are truly amazing. So have a great rest of y'all's day. I'll see y'all next live.